Hello everyone and welcome to this XPath series for the testers. In this particular tutorial, we will learn about the XPath String Functions. So let's begin. XPath provides a powerful string functions to help testers precisely locate the elements based on the text and the attribute values. In this tutorial, we will explore three commonly used string functions in XPath that are essential in automation testing, especially you are working with the Selenium or the Playwright. So the first one we want to learn is basically starts with the function. Okay. So the first one is basically starts dash with. Now what this start dash with will do basically? So basically this function checks if an attribute or text value begins with a specific string. So what we need to do is that we need to locate the element based on the string it starts with. Let's take example over here. We want to look at the element and that element has a string. This is a string example. Now this particular string starts with this, right? So what we can do is that we can locate this element using the starts with function, because it checks if an attribute or text value begins with the specific string, right? Then secondly, we will learn about another function which is substring. Okay, so we'll learn about substring. So what this substring function will do basically, again, substring means a part of that particular string. So basically what it will do is that it will extract a portion of a string based on the starting position and length. Okay, based on the based on the starting position and length. So basically if I summarize this one, so basically extracting a text from a bigger text basically. So this is a complete string, and if we want to extract this part, so this is known as a substring over here, right? We'll see this practically shortly, but right now understand this concept. And third one, we just talk about the length. So basically we have another function called string length. So string dash length. Now this function calculates the number of characters in a string. Okay, so basically length means how many characters we have in this particular string. So for example, for this particular string, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the spaces are also count 8, 9, 10, 11, so on. Assume that this contains 20. So basically a length of the string in terms of characters and spaces. Okay, now let's see this practically, and let's go to the browser over here. And here in the browser, let's click on inspect and then click Ctrl F so that we can have this particular area where we can write the XPath. So // now let's go with the input. Now I will say that input starts dash with, and here I will say okay @id comma, and here I will say, let's suppose we have a first name, right? So we will say first. Okay, so how we identify this particular element here? We are saying that we need to look for input field where ID starts with the first. So here start because the complete ID is first name, but with the starts with what? So basically, we are saying that it should start with the first. First, we are talking about this first, right? In similar way, what we can say is that starts with, I'll say, if I go here and spread this wheel, and here is last, right? So if I say starts with the last, so you see that we have successfully able to locate this particular field by writing the XPath expression using a string function. So we are saying that the string will start with this. Again, as automation tester, the purpose here is that we need to locate the element uniquely. We need to write a XPath expression in such a way that it should uniquely identify the element. Okay. Now we just learned that how it starts with work. So now let's see about the substring over here, and let's suppose say substring at the rate ID, and I'll say again go with this first name field. So I'll say ID comma 1 comma 4. Okay, and we are basically providing the starting and ending point. We are extracting the string, right? So we are extracting. So we are saying that we need the ID where 1 comma 4 first character till the fourth character basically is let's suppose we say first, right? So 1 comma 4 then is equals to, I will say, first. Okay, and let's close this one. Now you see that we have successfully identified the same field. Here we are saying that we need to find a input field where the substring, and where we are finding the substring, we are saying that we are finding a substring in the ID, and we are saying that the substring will be from 1 character to 4 characters. Okay, and we given those values, and based on that it successfully identified this particular field. Okay, now in some cases what happens is that you might need to find element where string length should be greater than 5. There might be some long string, so based on that, or maybe some small string, so you can go with this approach here as well. So for example, I will say input string dash length, and length of, now I'm saying that based on the attribute. Okay, so I will say the ID. So length of the ID basically should be greater than, for example, I say 5, and close this one. Now it will bring all the input fields where ID value is greater than 5. That's why we are getting 24 results. But again, remember here is that our purpose here to uniquely identify. We learned different concepts throughout this series. So it's not necessary that this particular concept will work every time. Sometimes you might need to go with the parent-child relationship. Sometimes you might need to go with the logical operators. Sometimes you need to go with the string functions. Again, so we are learning all these concepts so that at the end of the day, you should be able to locate the element uniquely by writing the XPath expression. Okay. So for this particular tutorial, let me summarize this one. So we talked about the XPath string functions. We talked about 3 common functions which we usually use. So one is starts with. So it will check if the attribute or text value begins with a specific string. Then we learned about substring. So we are extracting a portion of a string based on its starting position and length. We are saying that okay, starting position is 1 and the length should be 4, right? Then the final one is basically we learn about the string length. So we are basically saying that okay, that string length should be greater than or less than or equal to maybe 5, 8 or 10. In some cases, this might also work because there might be a very long string which contains 500 characters and that's the only one string. So you can say that where characters are greater than 499. So obviously it will pick only that particular element. Okay. So that's how you can work with the XPath strings.